Mitch. He's really funny, isn't he? Like the Harry Redknapp of recovery. You should be saying that. Oh, fuck on. Yeah, thanks. I'm really honoured to be involved with the Amy Winehouse Foundation. I think Mitch is doing a fantastic job. And let's face it, he's a bloke who's lost his daughter and has turned that harrowing and awful, devastating experience into something positive for a community of people who aren't spoken up for enough. And as he rightly pointed out, are incredibly resourceful and have got a lot to offer. It ain't easy to sustain a life as a drug addict or an alcoholic. It's really difficult. And when you was talking, mate, about the getting them into schools, getting sort of people in recovery into schools to spread a message of experience, strength and hope, that's obviously challenging because they're all criminals. So they're testing it. It must be double tricky. But I think this is a very, very positive foundation. Obviously, the stuff that you're doing, like the hospices and the stuff for kids with disabilities and whatnot, that's all fantastic. But I'm here as a representative of abstinence-based recovery. It's my belief that anybody suffering from the disease of alcoholism and addiction, whether that's myself or Amy, and there's obviously been different outcomes in those two examples, have a chance of a life clean from all substances if they follow a simple program. There's a lot of people out there that are sort of offering that program now. There's more awareness, there's more education. Getting that awareness and education into schools is obviously paramount. But everybody having access to it is important to me. It's a disease that don't recognise boundaries of race, creed, class or culture. Everybody here is either affected by it directly themselves or knows someone who's affected by it. So for me, Mitch's attitude of getting on with it and getting that message out there, not waiting for the bureaucratic tangle of legislation to be untwined by governmental office, is a nicely British attitude for getting on with stuff. For me, this is like my life now. Because I don't have a life without it. As long as I'm clean and sober one day at a time, I can be of use to society in a variety of ways. If I'm drinking and using, I'm not of any use to anybody. So I think you're doing fantastic work in your daughter's memory, Mitch, and I really, really commend you for that. And I think that we should all support this, and I'm available to chat to any of you. And as Mitch says, this police, you can see them in here. This room's full of junkies and scumbags. You learn how to spot them. And as he rightly points out, these people with that skill set that they've had for keeping themselves dosed up, they can be so they've got hustle. If you put them to work in the right direction, these are obsessive people. They'll work themselves into the ground for you. They'll stop at nothing. So there's an untapped resource, an army of people ready to help the next generation so they don't need to go so far down that road. If I'd had access to the right kind of... What people don't understand is the data's not about drugs and alcohol. It's about the feelings that lead you to drink and take drugs. That's why I did it. I couldn't cope with reality. I didn't take drugs, for a laugh ever. I didn't drink because it made me sort of sprightly. It was an anaesthetic because I was unhappy. Drugs and alcohol were not my problem. Reality was my problem. Drugs and alcohol is my solution. If we help people to address the problem of their reality, then they won't need to go down the road of drugs and alcohol. So this is double positive, all this recovery festival thing. I'm really glad to be a part of it, especially so near to the seat of power. Wicked. Cheers.